we are live, new comic book day, night live from the intranet. And we are here with two amazing guests. We have got Steve McArdle and Mr. Plutoons, and we're talking comics, we're talking creation, we're talking it all this week. But first, we're gonna start it the way we start every week. I mean, every month, with new books and new plugs. So we're gonna go over to my man Manny. What up, Manny? What you got to plug? What new books?
Well, I did go to the comic shop today. It was a good week. I got the new Red Room, you know, Ed's book, of course. The Hulk annual, written by David Pepose, who it's like a found footage film. It's actually a really interesting way to write a comic, and unlike anything I've ever seen. That was really cool. The New Titans by Tom Taylor was good. I finally dived into the Trek books from IDW because, you know, I'm a big Trekkie. Eli knows this, but the Trek comics are kind of a blind spot for me, but I want to make that not a blind spot. So, and I got Venom, you know, just a good day at the comic shop this week, man. You know, everything was pretty much mainstream, nothing from the indies except for Red Room, but yeah. And as far as plugs, I mean, you can find me co-hosting the Comic Lounge with Ryan D. We do multiple episodes every week. We do a weekly picks episode that drops every Friday. We got some cool interviews coming up in the next few weeks. Mark Waid, Daniel Warren Johnson. So be on the lookout for those.
Nice.
And also, you know, been did a backup in Relic Hunter issue 1, which you know, you can do pre-orders from now from Cosmic Lion Press. And also working on future Relic Hunter stuff with Adam. Adam's here, you can say what's up. And that's it, man. Just trying to stay busy. Reading comics, writing comics, talking about them, you know. That's the life, right? So
that's the life we chose.
That's why we're here. So yeah.
All right, sweet. Let's go over to other host, Rick Lopez. What up, dude? What you got for us?
What's up, guys? I don't have any new books other than I'm honestly on like the very last few pages of my book. I'm the 3rd issue of the Power.
Fire.
So I'm just trying to get that pumped out. I feel like if I don't finish it this week, then I'll have it next week. So I've just been trying to work on that like nonstop. And then of course, still work on the 9th or 60th. I'll have to count. I'm pretty far along with that one now too. You can read that one on Next Panel Press. Yeah. So we're working on through the third year of Next Panel Press. Yeah. And then we have I had the cover up, but I have a 6-page backup that Manny wrote for Adam Lemna's book Relic Hunter. We did it through Next Panel Press, and Eli's going to publish it through Cosmic Lion Productions. So pretty excited about that. Just waiting to get those from Comics Wellspring.
Those pages are sick. I can't wait for you guys to see what Rick did. I mean,
I wanted to show off the cover, but it didn't load up for me. But Misimo's colors look amazing on Adam's ink, so that's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah, Adam's got it.
He's got
it.
There
we go. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, I love that cover. So that's coming soon. Have a 6-page backup in there. You can catch a preview of that on Next Panel Press, and you can catch the majority of us here, like Eli, Tony Farrow, Adam, myself, Manny. Well, you can catch us all on Next Panel Press every week.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, dude.
All right. For me, of course, you know, the plugs is CosmicLionProductions.com. We're constantly growing, constantly taking on more books. The next book is Adam Lemna's Power comic, Relic Hunter, is coming up next. We've got and a Ghost Agents Kickstarter that's starting on June 6th. That's going to be huge. Another issue of Ghost Agents featuring many of the dudes. And I said many of the dudes because we don't have any ladies, but you know, that's something we're working towards. We'd love to feature other sexes. And I also got a bunch of books, of course, the Star Trek books as well. Star Trek Defiant is the Worf-led new Trek book. Of course, Venom. I've been following it. It's a fun book, man. I also got like Extreme Venomverse. I just find it creative and interesting enough to see all the different ways that they can reinvent, change think of new ways to do Spider-Man and Venom. Like, yes, they're the most mainstream characters you can get, but like if they can just keep creating new and different, of these guys. I love it. I'm there for it. It's a creative challenge, and they keep me attached. They did the same with Batman in this issue. That's number 900. I just saw it online, and it's like they went into the Batmaverse or whatever and have all these different versions. I'm into that. And another one, shout out to the Short Box Jacks for hyping me to this. Arcade Kings, a new book that came out this week. It looks pretty interesting. I have literally no idea what it's about, but hearing it from those guys looking for a new book. Yeah, man, it's worth it. I'm down for it. And just go to cosmiclionproductions.com for all the new shit. All right. So let's go around the room. Let's see if anyone else has some new books they want to share. Steve, do you get anything new this week?
Yeah, I picked up some new stuff. It's old new stuff.
Old new is the best.
Yeah.
Some new to you stuff.
Black Panther, Panther's Prey. This is a great 4-part series. It's just killer art, great story. Nexus Omnibus.
Oh, nice.
Steve Rude.
Yeah.
Some really good stuff. Jack Kirby, G-Men Files, Simon and Kirby, like Golden Age.
Whoa.
A lot of the stuff I buy is old reprints and books that you can't really find. And then the last thing I've got is Golden Age Human Torch Volume 3.
Oh, whoa.
Number 9 through 12. A lot of like Schomburg and stuff. It's really good stuff.
Nice. Fun. Classics, dude. All right, awesome. And what about, where can we find you and get more of your books online?
Sure. Yeah, you can find me on all social media, Instagram, Facebook. I've got an Etsy store, Red Bullet Studios, and I got an eBay store, Steve Knievel.
Oh, nice. Do you sell your old books there? Do you sell art there? Or what's all on your eBay?
Basically just I make some side money selling like old books, old records, toys.
Nice.
I've got the new stuff that's out, the new Vendetta, the new C.R.O.W.BAR 9 books, t-shirts and merch and stuff. Same with the Etsy.
Sweet.
I don't have anywhere to buy the old books or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Those are up to us to dig.
Yeah, they're out there in the bins somewhere.
Yeah. All right, let's go over to our other guest, Mr. Plutoons. Did you find anything new this week? You dropped a little hint that you might have completed.
I completed a quest. Yeah, I spent an entire year kind of half-ass looking for Bartman #1 because it has some sentimental value to me. I had it as a kid. It was like, I think it was my first like floppy comic. Got it here, and we were like just in back issues, just digging around, and this thing was just in a random slot, not in the right alphabetical place. It was just completely just a pull out, like, oh, this is exactly what I was here for. It was crazy. So I was really pumped about that. I added some C.R.O.W.BAR to my collection, a little bit of Ghost in the Shell.
Nice.
It's a part of that the Man and Machine interface. So I guess random issue 4 and 6. I just grab them as I see them, and then a little bit of Appleseed, a thick trade paper version.
Nice.
Which is good to have around, Oh, I think the craziest thing I got though, I went crazy this week, obviously, but some of you might recognize these. This was a big deal for me as a kid. I don't know why I'm like going back to nostalgia on Nostalgia Core right now, but I'm feeling good about these. This was my gateway to whatever I do now.
I think it's all about that nostalgia hit that you get, like for anyone, no matter what time period it was. Like for me, it's those Ninja Turtles Archie books, because that's where I started too,
Yeah, man. Yeah, those are great.
I was like,
feed the beast.
Yeah, you got to feed the beast. It gives you that hit of nostalgia, the same way when you hear that song from when you were a kid, or you hit that story. All right, so let's continue around the room and see if anyone else has got some new books they want to chat about for New Comic Book Day Night Live before we get into the Q&A. We got two Tonys. We got a Matt and Adam, a Scooch MC. Matt, I saw you digging through some books there. What up? Oh, we gotta unmute you.
How's that?
Perfect.
All right, cool. So Steve and I go to the same store. I was hoping to run into him down there today, but no.
Oh, nice.
I didn't get to make it out there, dude. I've been busy with other stuff, but I know Matt's gonna have like an incredible stuff to show. This guy's got, look at the line behind this guy.
Yeah.
So I found these Mage back issues in the 50-cent bin today.
Nice.
So even though I've got them all already and I've got all the collections back here, I bought them anyways because disease. And then if someone can explain this to me, this is brand new this week. Fearless Dawn, The Bomb #1. So the Kickstarter for this book started today. So someone explain that to me.
What?
Yeah, for real. The last issue of this, Frankenrocker.
Oh, nice.
Which the art in it is just like wild.
Whoa.
But yeah, this has been delayed for a long time. And the only other thing I got was this book from Living the Line, Centralia. So it looks very very Europeanish, but I really dig this stuff. So I also told Tony there'd be none of this new book stuff, so I feel bad. So sorry. I think I usually end up joining late when you guys are already talking to the creators. So this is new to me, Tony. Sorry.
I did forget to mention I pulled a bunch of Kirby Superpower books from the dollar bin too. When I went to the shop.
Can't go wrong with them.
Nice.
No,
This is the first time I've gone all the way around the room, that we've gone all the way around the room with the new books thing. I just kind of felt inspired to let everyone get a chance today.
Yeah, man.
All right, Tony's got some anyway. What up, dude? Oh, Ito,
nice. From Junji Ito.
Are you? I think you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry.
No worries, dude.
Yeah, love Junji Ito and always pick up the newest collections when they come out. So I'm excited to dive into that. And then I'm sure all you guys already got this last week, but I got this in the mail, obviously.
Yeah, I got mine last week. Yeah, dope.
Yeah,
Right on.
I'm sure I see a lot of your faces in there. So
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Because like I only paid for once, but I'm in there like twice, and I'm like, dude, yeah, it's sick. It's awesome. All right, cool. Let's see, Tony Farrow, Adam.
Yeah, man. I don't have new books, but I have dollar bin books. That's what I like to do. So I've got Roulette 1 from Caliber. It's all right. Matt Wagner's Bases.
Nice.
Dark Horse Presents 47.
You can't go wrong with DHP, man. Always good.
And 46 as well. So nice. Eddie Campbell and some others in there.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Where's the feet? Just kidding. Don't get me started.
Badger 53.
Oh, man, Badger.
So
hell yeah, man. Tim Vigil.
That's my jam.
Dead Face, some Eddie Campbell. So, really cool.
Whoa.
Love that stuff. This one I just kind of picked up on the cover because I love the cover so much. The inside is kind of like, but the cover's amazing. So yeah. And Mystery #1. Which was fun to find for a buck. Sweet. And then I've got Relic Hunter, which is up on Cosmic Lion. And yeah, that's it.
Hell yeah. CosmicLionProductions.com. All right, we'll head over to Tony Farrow, and then I think we'll be ready to get this thing started. What up, dude?
Yeah, hey. I don't have anything. Well, I just sent
a bunch of stuff to the printer recently, just a couple days ago. So I will have 21st Century Big Spider number 4 coming out as soon as it's done at the printer. And I reprinted a bunch of other stuff that's been out of print. So I'll be at Heroes Con. So I wanted to get shit ready to you know, put at the table there. So yeah, so I put up a 21st Century Big Spider up on for sale, like pre-order today. So that's available.
Sweet. Put your link in the chat if you can, because I'll pre-order that shit. I love your book.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Or you can just wait until Heroes Con.
That's true. Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
Well, but aren't you collecting money for printing or something?
No, it's already printed.
Okay.
I mean, I already paid for the printing. I was just trying to cover a little bit of it, you know.
All right, word.
Keep me afloat.
Well, then I'll see you at Heroes.
Right on.
All right, sweet. Now that we are done that portion of the evening, unless Donda or Scooch wants to share anything, hit me up in the chat. If not, we will head on over to Rick Lopez to get us started. Wait, I see Donda unmuted. Nah, he's good.
Yo, what up? What up? Donda Sunday. I'm currently handling some family stuff. I don't have anything to share this week, but I do got some new pages. I'll probably show you guys later. Nice. I'm just in the mode of doing some stuff. I'm happy to be here, and I can't wait for the discussion.
Hell yeah, dude. Alrighty, Rick Lopez, start us off, bro. What's up?
What's up, guys? Thank you both for coming, first of all. I have so many questions for both of you. I want to start off with Mr. Plutoons. I wasn't sure if it's okay to use your first name or not, Pat.
You can call me anything.
Okay, just want to make sure. Cool. Yeah, dude. Thanks again for coming on. I know we've been talking about this since like last year and everything, and then you moved cross country back home and everything. So I was like, damn. All right. So we definitely got to get him on soon. But it's been so awesome, like watching you, you know what I mean? Like watching you blow up from where, because when I first started following you, it like you were still on the come up and everything, and watching you blow up and everything has just been so inspiring. And like what you bring to the community is like, it's really, every time because like when we first, when we came back, when we met you, we're like sharing it in the Next Panel Press chat. I'm like, you guys gotta see this shit. Like the Nacho Rebel at the time, I'm pretty sure is what was going on. And your channel is just so fun. And I have a few questions, okay? Because it's like, first of all, it's not just that, but then you also got this community that came around you as well, that you have on your Discord, you know, that you're cultivating as well. You have award shows going on. You have a guest panel with that even. Like, how do you manage all this stuff, like as a whole, and then like time wise, you know, because that's a big one. I have such a struggle with like time management, but I'm like, dude, Pat always, like, I always look to you and I'm like, Pat does it all. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, get your shit done, dude. Like, look how much he does.
Dude, I appreciate the love and having me on here today to get to shoot the stuff. Dude. And it's interesting hearing your perspective of what's been going on. Cause I mean, a year, maybe a little more than a year ago, I was
more than that, yeah.
Yeah, a little more than a year ago, I was putting my stuff out into the ether, having no clue what I was doing. I still have no clue what I'm doing, but there's some kind of momentum that started happening with, I guess, over on different social medias, and I just try to snowball it and just keep it going. Essentially, let me see, like my time, I would say that in the effort to keep the snowball going, I sacrifice a lot of other things that need to be, that would keep me more productive, like things that I guess if I like shut myself off in the middle of and like cut myself off from society or from social media, I could really dig into my books a little further, or at least whatever projects I've got going on, like a little faster maybe. But I feel that there's such a value in kind of developing everything all at once, an alla prima approach, I guess. I think that's a Italian word for everything at once. And I just am making it up as I go. I have no clue. Like last year in May, I like wanted to commandeer a play on words with manga and manga. And so in my Discord, I created like a zine contest. I called it the Mini Manga Awards. And then May was coming around again. And I had honestly procrastinated a bit, and we were coming up on the end of April. And it's like, oh shit, I got to claim May for my community. We got to keep this going. We got to do it again. If I do it once, I got to get it twice. So it's just a matter of kind of pushing things aside and just tackling the immediate problems and not worrying about when we get to where we need to be. And then also the real world stuff, like trying to balance life, bringing in income for rent, that sort of thing, trying to exist, just making sure you balance. And a thing that really helps me in general, I don't know if I've just gone all over the place, but it's been just tackling my schedule and like being really rigid about it. And that's like having just a consistent routine, whether it be waking up at a very specific time every single day, or like not going out with buddies. Like it works. You move to a new town, it's easy to not go out with buddies because you're the new guy in the house, so it doesn't matter. But just really doing the troll life, and then on the social media side, just going all out the whole time, which is it's like a positive and negative thing. I don't know. I feel like I rambled a lot there, but I don't know if I covered everything you asked about though.
And what about the Discord? Like, how is that? Like, because I mean, like, you know, there's plenty of people who have like shot off and they're just still doing their thing, but it's like you're also cultivating this other community around you. That's what like is so fast. That's the fascinating part to me, because it's like he's doing so much, you know.
I'm spread thin. I think
I'm not trying to put so much pressure on you, dude. But
no,
you know,
I get it. I feel like
But yeah,
the Discord was an awesome anchor spot, because I had all these people asking me questions when I would post certain videos, and I felt like, oh well, it'd be a lot easier to just cultivate this into one area, and Discord is basically made for that. And I guess the generation on TikTok, they're big into it's like alien language to me when I first got on Discord. It still kind of is, like, and managing it is difficult at the moment just because it's just me doing it. So I get every once in a while you get those spam posts because I'm not paying attention, or don't have like the moderators like correctly, or the bots to like catch those things, and you get in there and you get like some porn ads. I'm like, oh, like how long has this been up there? And but it's been good because you get familiar with people that are interested in the same things, and it's a place that people can join, and everyone's like-minded with this shared goal of creating comics. And in my theming, it would be, we all want to be on the bookshelves at Barnes and Noble that say manga, but I mean, it's all the same at the end of the day. We all like sequential art. We're all cartoonists. And I think there's not a lot of opportunity for anybody to just get together and celebrate it constantly, or at least cheer each other on as we struggle, you know?
Oh, totally, dude.
That's why this is awesome. This is such a cool platform you guys got going on too, like just keeping the engine going.
No, absolutely. And it's like I get the negative aspects of social media, but it's like I've met like all my best friends, and I've learned so much because of the people I've met through social media. And so, you know, I take the good with the bad.
Yeah, it's good with bad for sure. That's,
yeah,
absolutely.
I can't hate on it really, because my entire life is
right.
being gifted by it.
Like anything, its powers can be used for good as well as evil. It's just how you harness it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah.
Word. All right, we'll head over to Manny now for the next set of questions.
All right, I got a question for Steve actually, because I mean your situation is interesting, because you were making comics at the in the 90s in the boom, and then now you're sort of getting back into it, and there's been like a reinterest in all the amazing stuff you do. So can you talk about that journey a little bit? I mean, I know you got hooked up with the Power Comics side, which is how this beautiful book got published, but I know that this has been a passion project for you for many years. So
Sure.
So how did you go from A to B? You know, like
I'll try to condense as much as I can. Yeah, man, I've loved comics since I was a little kid. I wanted to draw for Marvel. I started self-publishing like the early 90s. Vendetta #1 came out in 1993, I think. My dad gave me the money to self-publish it. I worked in print shops. That's my background too, is I got a good background with graphics and art and printing. And it made it easier to do those first few books. I had other printers for some of the other stuff. And then eventually, you know, like by the late 90s, things were kind of falling apart. I had personal stuff I had to deal with, other things. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago, I got contacted by guy Jeff Miller. Shout out to Jeff Miller, who's another super comic fan. He bought my books in the 90s and wanted to rebuy the missing issues. And he started sending them out to the kayfabe guys and the Power Comics guys. And so my band was kind of breaking up by this last couple of years. And so I started sending my comic books around myself. And then I started to get it was like a lot of other feedback and some interest from the Power Comics guys. I forget what came first. And I started doing a couple interviews. And then Evan was talking to me and said, you know, we're doing a thing with Floating World and we want to republish some of the old books. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, definitely. You know, It was a dream come true. My band kind of ran its course. I wanted to come back and do my art and do comics again. And it was perfect. It was right there. I was like, oh my God. I kept all my original art. I had a whole bunch of other art that I hadn't used and published yet. And we put it together with photos of like some, you know, merch people had made and interviews and the letters pages. And, you know, I'd gotten commissions of Gene Colan and Gene Tuscan back when those men, back when they were still alive. So I pulled everything that I could for that. And then I talked with those guys more and I said, look, I never finished C.R.O.W.BAR 9. It was a 3-issue mini-series, was supposed to finish with that last one. I never got to it. What about we do that as one big book? And so that was, again, like I went back, went over all my pages for 1 and 2, made some touch-ups, added stuff, finished 3, made an 80-page giant out of that. And that was my dream, was to eventually finish C.R.O.W.BAR 9. That wrapped everything up. And then I would start over again with a new Vendetta #1 at some point, if I would ever get that.
Is that, are you planning to start a new Vendetta? I mean, are you going to keep going? I mean,
that's what I'm working on right now.
That's awesome, man.
Yep. I want to do a new, I guess I did a mini series of 4. I don't like the idea of a new #1, but it seems silly to start with a 5. So I think I'll just probably do a new #1 and start an unlimited series. And just because that was a character I wanted to come back to. It's the most popular character. I can have the other characters come in and out from C.R.O.W.BAR 9 and Artillery, the villains. I got a bunch of new villains I got coming in, bunch of new concepts. I'm plotting out. I've got like maybe 4 or 5 books roughed out, and I'm working. I've got issue #1 penciled, and I'm in the process of writing the script and letter. But hopefully I'll have it finished soon.
Is this going to be through Power Comics and Floating World, or are you going to do it yourself? Or
I think they definitely sound like they're interested. Nothing's written in stone yet, but we had a great relationship with the first 2. Jason of Floating World said he was psyched to see the new Vendetta. I just told him little bits of what I've got of I don't want to give too much away, but there's going to be some if you like the first Vendetta series, I think you're going to like this.
I'm on board, man, for sure.
Cool. I'm having a blast. I'm having so much fun. It feels great coming back to the character. I want to be able to bring back Lord Leviathan and bludgeon and artillery, and I've got a bunch of new characters coming in too, so it's going to be cool.
Now, has your approach to creating changed, like since you first did it to now? Like, do you, Rick had mentioned like time management and like, scheduling and like how, process, like, are you still creating comics like you were, or did you like bring something new to the table after, maturing for so many years?
Yeah, no, I haven't matured at all. I still do everything the same,
too,
but
yeah.
because I don't want to. I'm an old school guy, luckily I can figure out how to run Zoom and get to talk to you guys, have a good night, having fun talking comics. But I'm not the most technical guy, so I do my stuff old school, pen and ink. The only thing that's changed is somebody helped out and created a computer font out of my handwritten lettering. So to save time, I don't have to hand letter every single, page of the book.
Or ruin your wrist, like in the process.
And it's rough on your wrist. It's a lot of hand time. So that's the one shortcut I'm taking. But everything else is exactly the same as what you see on those old books. And that Vendetta #1, page 1, that was my first real page I ever drew.
Because your stuff is so dense, man. I mean, there's so much line work and everything that you do. It's like, and it's impressive that you still do it all by hand.
Yeah, that's the way I was a fanatic as a kid of comics, and I would just sit there and draw, on the weekends and at night or whatever. Just it's mania, but I love it. It's one of those things. It's in your blood.
Yeah, it sure is, man.
Cool, man. All righty, let's see. All right, I guess I'll ask some cues here myself now. Steve, one thing I wanted to talk about is I'm super interested in, and I guess Plutoons as well. I'm super interested in the fusion of music and comics. And I know, Steve, you said you were in a band. I was reading about that, and it said, and the article I read said that you were trying to incorporate elements of like your music into your comics. So we'll start with Steve. Can you talk a little bit about how you've done that and how you've incorporated like not just the music you make, but the music that you love into the comics that you have made?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think you can tell by looking at my comics, I'm a metal kid.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of an aesthetic, and the spikes and the leather and the bullets and the chains and the mohawks and the dirty streets and leather jackets. So that aesthetic is kind of part of what I do. Yeah. I mean, I grew up with Marvel Comics and DC and all that stuff and Image too, and all the Turtles and the Underground and the Indies and Dead World and all the independent stuff, Warlock 5.
Yeah.
And Tim Vigil. My stuff's kind of a mix of all of that together, but it's my personal seasoning in that stew is the metal aesthetic that I grew up with and playing in bands and graffiti and seeing, sometimes I'm listening to something as I'm drawing. And so that's the graffiti on the walls. I'm listening to Motorhead. So someone spray painted Motorhead on that bar room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that because as I was rereading the book today, I kept noticing all the band names on the wall, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Urge Overkill. There was one that really made me. Fuck, I gotta find it, but yeah, I did notice that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I bet some of these other guys, everyone's got their heads down drawing, so I can tell. Like I know this. I'm the same way too. I bet you guys will agree. Can you guys look back at your art pages sometime and remember? Like where you were, what you were thinking when you look back at the page?
Definitely.
You're like, oh shit, I remember that, that day or what was happening at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you do add little things in there, or you can remember like, oh man, I was listening to this song, so I did something this way, or it got me, grooving, and so I was like, I drew all this and then kind of like snapped out of this like complete focus. Like thing, and then you're like, oh shit, it's been like 3 songs, or that song's been like 25 minutes or something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I put everything onto the page of that I can. Anything of music or just whatever's in my head, maybe like a movie reference or pop culture stuff.
I love that. What about you, Plutoons? Do you incorporate that? I know one thing you incorporate a lot is like even your own photos of like the world around you to kind of incorporate that into your work. Do you also do that with music and stuff like that, or?
I definitely have music as like a vehicle to get me into, I guess, a mindset, whether it be like designing a character or just feeling a theme out for a specific scene or story, just to get in that like creative space. But honestly, in the last couple of years, everyone's gonna think this. I'm a bit of a psychopath where I just work in silence, nothing, just absolute nothing. Like it's super like 20-year-old me would have been freaked out by that because music back then was much more like ingrained into the work itself, I guess. But now I don't know what happened. I don't know if like my wires got crossed or something, but I need like to be, my brain is so loud. I just need to just be in silence and just think through it. But I like, because growing up, I was into a bit of like the pop punk hardcore scene and then that translated or evolved into the electronic dance music scene. And I mean, prior to the dance music, a lot of that was like DIY energy, like the graffiti and just getting out there, making things for the sake of making things. And I think a lot of that still is embedded into what I do. And those are just like mechanical elements, but in a beautiful, perfect world, we'd have, when you open the book, music would play for you.
Oh, like those greeting cards that have
little
speakers embedded.
Oh damn, bro, yeah.
Oh my gosh, we need to figure that out.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Someone needs to do that, yeah, man.
If a greeting card can do that, we can do that.
And you open Vendetta and some metal starts playing at you.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta write that down.
You're gonna laugh. That was an idea I had, was to have a comic book where the words to the book would be lyrics to the music, come with a CD. So it'd be almost like I guess it would be an opera almost, but it'd be like, you know, the old Power Records, you know, you have the comic book with the record in the back.
Oh yeah, the flexi disc.
Yeah, like a flexi disc or a CD or I guess an MP3 or whatever, you know. I guess you could put a link or something. But
we're working on that for the next. I can't.
Oh my god! Right? Yeah.
We got a flexi disc coming.
It'd be just such a ridiculous project to try to like, because I was thinking I'd write the music and then the lyrics and then perform it and then draw the comic book, and I'm like, oh my god, I'll never finish that.
Yes,
it's ridiculous.
All right, let's go over to Matt King. I have a feeling he's got something to say. He's got a question. I just see it in his eyes.
I didn't have anything very specific, but Mr. McArdle, true or false? Drawing that Tales to Enlighten pinup got you back into drawing comics.
You know, that was a very, very important part of me coming back to drawing comics. I was ready to come back anyway, man, but that was a catalyst. And kudos to you, brother. You're super talented and a hell of a great guy. And man, I love the shit that you do. It's fucking a riot. And I had a blast doing that pinup, and it just got me excited about doing new artwork again. I wanted to come back. And then it was funny the way things worked out with Power Comics guys and stuff like that. But it's the way things work out. It was meant to be. I think it was meant to be.
It's kind of funny because when I was first we were making Tales to Enlighten, and I wanted to get some pinups. I went through and made a list of people, artists that had been inspiring over the years from like 80s and 90s indie books, and your name was on the list. And even though we went to the same store, it was a different store than the one we go to now.
Yeah, but a shout out to Bob City on Bedrock Comics, Jimmy and Jack, two awesome guys. They're infamous in the comics world. For locally, if you're around Massachusetts, everybody knows who they are.
So I picked up Vendetta #1 through Bedrock, or yeah, it was when Jack owned the store. So, and I had your name on the list, though I'd never met you. And I was at a show at the Elks Club, and you would come through, but I still didn't know, I didn't know who you were. And you walked away, and Jimmy said that Steve McArdle is such a nice guy. And I said, that's Steve McArdle? And then I got in touch with you, and that's how that all happened. But
that's such a great story, man. It's so funny. It is. And Jimmy's what a great dude he is. He's such a nice guy, man. But I'm so glad that you and I hooked up and became friends. And man, I like I said, I love hanging out and talking shop with you and getting together. And we got to meet up at the Chicken next time.
For sure. So Chris Anderson and I just did a video about Rain Ness and Dam Log.
Oh,
and
Rain Ness is so good. Oh, so awesome.
So Chris had asked me to pick out a comic book that had inspired me, or that I couldn't live without, I guess. So I guess I'll turn that same question over to you. What's a comic that you find completely inspiring and you wouldn't want to live without?
Ooh. Boy, that's tough. Boy, it's hard to narrow that down, man.
So everyone in this room is like kind of a singular visionary, where they're all you guys are all working on your own things, your own projects. I don't think anybody here is aspiring to go work for Marvel. So no. I mean, we all sort of fit in that that Rain Ness. What I loved about it was it's like a singular vision that's like worked out on the page, sometimes as you go, but pre-planned and stuff.
Things. And sometimes it's unconscious too, because I'm trying to think back, because artistically, Marvel Comics, Frank Frazetta is my Mount Rushmore. But when I think about it, like the Turtles were one of the things that I think gave me the balls to go like, you know what, I could probably self-publish. Like I didn't even think about it till the Turtles came on. And there was others too, Warlock 5 and Dead World.
Warlock 5, I love.
Oh man, it was so good. It was so good.
I've been reading all sorts of that kind of stuff lately. So some better than others.
It doesn't get enough love. It's people talk about, like the Crow and Vigil and Faust and stuff, but Warlock 5, man, black and white airbrush. Yeah.
Yep.
I try to throw some of that into my stuff. I throw photographs and a little bit of airbrush and some more little bit of abstract-y stuff.
Right. All right. Well, that's it from me.
Oh yeah, man. Good time. Good seeing you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, word. We're gonna go back to Rick. If you have a question, shout out to Jerome. Jerome, what up? Just got here. If you have a question, try to raise your hand in the session here, and I'll get to you next. But let's go back to Rick.
What's up, guys? So definitely I wanted to know about, like, with I'm going back to Pat again. Sorry, guys. For confusion. I'm going back to Pat again, but I was okay. So you were doing the photo manipulation, like with the Nacho Rebel, like I had brought up earlier. And some people, like, I mean, like, not a lot, I hope, but some people gave you shit and you were showing off other stuff that you had done, but it really showed like your range. And so that I'd always wondered, like, okay, did you go to school or what's your background like? And I want to know the same thing with Steve too. I'm really curious about both of your backgrounds, basically. Like, where did you come from? Are you self-taught? Did you go to school? Did you learned a little bit? So maybe someone in your life taught you. I'd love to know. I'll start with Pat.
I'm sure, like everybody here, I've just been drawing my entire life. And then by the end of high school, I was not in any position to pursue academics in any way. I didn't have any opportunities coming my way. But then I I did discover they give you degrees in art school, and art schools exist. I didn't really comprehend like what that meant, like as far as financial burdens and taking on student loan debt and stuff. But I did dabble in a small school in Laguna Beach called Laguna College of Art and Design, which is a wonderful location, a wonderful school for fine art illustration. And I never finished. And I went twice. I like dropped out twice. It was more of like a journey for me, a huge, it's a big, costly journey, but I went in out of high school. I was a bit of a kind of a looking, I wasn't it because you got to think about art school, at least this particular one was more like a trade school. And as an 18-year-old, I was more looking for the freedom of in that party life that you might get at a normal college, but that doesn't belong at a trade school setting or like when you're trying to learn a trade. So I went out into the real world all the while dabbling, teaching myself, trying to find ins and outs of wherever I could pick up knowledge, I guess, or get experience. And then I think I spent one summer, I did like a children's book, like an illustrate, like a personal, like a self-published children's book. And I was like, hey, what the hell? Why am I doing this? I could get my degree and that degree will unlock all the doors. Like I'm gonna go back to art school. And that was the second time. I mean, I picked up a ton of knowledge. Don't get me wrong, like a lot of knowledge.
That's what I was gonna ask.
But 10 years after the fact, the mounting debt that you're in, anybody that goes to college, if you need to take on that kind of debt, I don't think it's necessarily the perfect path, like not necessarily the fastest path either. Because I remember being told in a course, the chair of the illustration department was like, most of you people will never have a job in art. You guys will probably take you 7 years after the fact to finally break in. I was like, F you, man. I'm going to get in. I'm going to right out the gate. I'm going to drop out of school and be in immediately. And turns out he was pretty much spot on with the prediction there. But I just think the journey is just so long that you just can't even look at it you can't look at these things like art school or education as being your, I guess, your source to open the door. It's going to be endless no matter what, like whether you're picking up books literally save yourself $3,000 per class. Yeah, every book you have in your arsenal that's an art book is literally the college course. Every single one. You just got to actually read the words. That's what I learned. Not just look at the pictures, because I'm a big picture looking at kind of guy.
I feel you.
Yeah. But yeah.
And yeah, I really appreciate that, dude. Because I was just really curious about that. I remember you had this one video and it showed so many different facets that you're able to do, and I was just pretty blown away. I'm like, damn, I wonder if you went to like some sort of art school to learn so much of this stuff, because
that's where honestly you get kind of, it's actually, there's part of it is a curse because you get indoctrinated is not really the right word, but you get kind of this academic perspective on how to create things,
right?
And you really have to untrain yourself to be able to just go loose or just be more creative, I guess, in the end. Because I feel like I'm always criticizing myself or my work when I know that if I just not leave that out of it and I just go, I'm going to be more satisfied with the image at the end. And at the end of the day, people are going to enjoy it for whatever it is, regardless of whether like a teacher would give it a grade or not. But I remember doing those videos in response to not necessarily, it was like intended backlash, but just kind of my big, F you to the comment section every once in a while, because sometimes you just got to bring the hammer down.
No, I feel that.
You got to throw your weight around.
You're human. It was good.
That has been a bonus, is utilizing the rage bait and taking advantage of that. And then that's a bit of a snowball for anybody out there on social media. Rage bait it's not good for mental health, but it could open some new doors, some new conversations. You never know.
No, dude, it's so true. Like it's all you could just like I remember like Jim had 2 different Klaus videos, like I Hate You Deeply and I Love You Deeply. And I Hate You Deeply got way more reviews than like Ed even called it. Just, you know.
It's the way the internet is a wild.
Yeah, the algorithm's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Thanks, Pat.
Thanks.
Drum's got something.
All righty. Did you want to send that question over to Steve as well? You had said.
Yes, I wasn't sure because of what we had already said. Yeah, I wasn't sure. But yeah, so because with Steve, man, like that's what, like you're so good at spotting blacks, but then like there's like this tech that you had done in one of the panels I was so blown away on, but your world building's great. And I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, where does this guy come from exactly? You know? Because like Daniel Moeller, that's where I found out about you from, was Daniel Moeller. Mm-hmm. And then seeing like your work, like I love your traditional inks are like some of my favorite stuff. And like seeing your the Black Sea spot, just kill it. I'm like, okay, where does this dude come from?
Thanks a lot, man. But you know, like I said, like all you guys, I just live and breathe comics. Like the first comic I saw, I fell in love with it, and I spent all my money on them as a kid. I just drew all the time. I love, you know, the fantasy artists, Vendetta, Boris, you know, all that type of stuff. Conan, all that type of sword and sorcery shit.
Are you self-taught, or did you go to any sort of school at all?
No, I knew I could never afford to go to school, and so that's all these boxes back here. This is my art school.
That's the school. Yeah.
This is thousands and thousands of little pieces of art school, one page at a time, and copying and learning. And then I figured, you know, at some point, I want to go back to it. I have all this stuff I can go back to and reference and you know, some things you don't need to go back to or after a while, but no, it's just a lot of hours. I did one correspondence course with the Kubert School, and I never had time to finish it. It was during the mid 90s or late 90s. And like I said, I don't want to get into personal stuff too much, but I wasn't able to finish the Red Bullet comics by the late 90s. And it was the same time I was doing the correspondence course. I actually still have it. It's upstairs. I never finished it. That's another thing I'm going to do. I got a list of things I'm going to do. I'm going to finish the art assignments in that correspondence course, you know. But no,
oh, that's awesome.
Long story short, I'm self-taught. You know, like art school and stuff in high school. Like I'm sure you guys did. Like you're like probably the teacher would be like, you know, he was really cool with me because he could tell I love to draw, and I took art seriously. Where a lot of the kids really didn't, you know.
Originally, when you were before you came back for your second renaissance that you're going through now, but originally, what was the big break? You know, was it like a few things, or was it like I'm curious how that's, because everyone has a different story, you know. So I'm always curious about how you kind of broke in and started getting work, basically.
Yeah, boy, it's just, man, like Plutoons said, like, man, sort of dumb luck, and you just got to keep trying and plugging away. I was still hoping to get work for a comic company, because, you know, by this point now, like the early 90s, we've got Image, we've got a lot of other independent companies. So I'm thinking, all right, I probably won't hit Marvel or DC, but maybe I might hit, you know, Ultraverse or Dark Horse, or not Dark Horse, but maybe Ultraverse. I don't know. I was working on Vendetta 1, and I would show those pages as samples. And looking back, I didn't even show my good pages. I was like, what? I didn't even know what I was doing. I showed my worst page, you know? And so, of course, nobody was interested. Nobody, you know, liked this stuff at all. And I was like, well, I'll just publish it myself. And I went on vacation with my dad, and I brought the pages with me all the time because, you know, you just got to work and work and work on this stuff. And my dad saw the pages, and he was like, boy, Steve, like, you know, you're really getting serious about this art thing, right? I'm like, yeah, Dad, I love these comics. I want to draw them. I want to make something out of this. And so he gave me the money to publish that first book. And then, you know, I didn't even know what a solicitation was. And this is pre-internet, so you got to just kind of do your homework and library work or whatever, magazines and books. And I put together a solicitation for Vendetta 1, shipped it out to all the distributors. Back then there was maybe 10, you know, Diamond, Capital City, multi book and periodical, Sticks. And I went into Buff City Comics in the Leechmere Mall. Matt knows where I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
You know, I would go in every week with, you know, my pull list, you know, and I'd spend like half my paycheck getting all my stack of new comics. And then one time I went in, he's like, "Oh, hey, Steve, guess what? I saw your comic book in the distributors catalogs." I'm like, "What? Really?" I had no idea. Like, they don't tell you, you know, nobody ever tells you anything. You always have to do your own homework and find these things out.
Yes,
So,
especially pre-internet.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
Totally,
that's amazing.
So a couple months later, I get the orders. I start filling orders. The fan mail starts coming in. I made enough off number 1 to do number 2. My goal was to just make enough money to go from one book to the next. Number 2 made enough to pay for number 3. Number 3 was weird. I met another guy that was publishing. He's actually kind of legendary now through Attic and Rule. He had like 3 different publishing companies, all started with A. And I wasn't getting distributed through Diamond. It was the only distributor that wouldn't take my books. It's hard to get into them. Right. And this guy was getting into Diamond. And I was like, boy, I wonder why this guy gets into Diamond. I didn't think his books, they were okay. You know, turns out he was best friends with Peter Laird. So he had a deep interconnection. So I ended up co-publishing Vendetta 3 with this other guy. So that got me into Diamond. So it's weird the way things work. It's really weird the way things work. And like
a lot of moving and shaking.
Yeah, man, the politics of companies and businesses and stuff, you know what I mean? But I just worked and did, I didn't, you know, I made stickers because I was working in a print shop. I'd make stickers and t-shirts and flyers. I'd do conventions and do sketches for kids for free on the back of boards. Man, I put, you know, 110% into everything. And then little by little, the fan mail started coming in. People would start sending in drawings of Vendetta and artillery. And it would, you know, I was starting to build a snowball, you know, it was starting to kind of go. But as I was doing better, like the comics industry was kind of falling apart a little bit. It was getting to be the mid-90s and the distributors are falling off. And then suddenly the only distributor left is Diamond. So now it's every door is closed and Diamond's the only ones left. So it was like, it's crazy. But you know, things work out. Things work out. You know, like I took time away. I played in a bunch of bands. I toured the country. I toured Canada. I recorded 2.5 albums with my band. I recorded another album. I sang for a band called CX. It's doing really well now. I was in a punk metal band for a few years called The Worst. And man, just as that was all kind of falling apart, things kind of came back again. Like you said, this almost new renaissance. People seeing the stuff again.
Well, that's insane, dude. Like that's so awesome, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Steve.
Word, man. Thank you. All right, cool. Let's go over to our question here. We got Jerome Cabanatan with the Q. What up, dude? Let's see.
What's up, guys? Thanks for popping me on. I came in late, but I didn't want to miss this one. I got some questions for both of you. So Mr. Plutoons, I guess your name is Pat. Your name is not Mr., but I guess we can call you Mr. But So a question to you is like you're like you have like hacks for everything. Like you've thrown a bunch of like shortcuts that have just like people talked about the like the nacho rubble, like how, you know, how to make the backgrounds, even like when you just use like AI as a prompt so you can like kind of like trace stuff and just to kind of help you jog your brain. But is there anything that you have that you know that you're extra slow on? Because you can't possibly have all these shortcuts and have everything be a plus. There has to be some kind of a minus. You're not a mutant, so there has to be some kind of minus to kind of balance things out. Like, is there something like, do you find yourself thinking hard on like when you're in your planning stages? Do you feel like you over plan? Because I think in terms of execution and finishing, you have a button to do that kind of stuff. And I haven't watched you like ink or like draw stuff, but I'm sure you're fast, right?
I definitely overthink. I was actually writing this down, like, why am I overthinking so much, and like trying to figure out if like someone like Miyazaki had this, because I have this Miyazaki book, and I was like thumbing through it to see if he has any comments on overthinking, and it turns out that's like a curse and a bonus at the same time kind of thing. But all that preparation or all those tools and things that I use on the side or like as a part of my workflow definitely takes its toll when it comes to the actual, I guess, drawing. Anytime I get back to the page where I'm actually drawing, there's a warm-up period, because if I'm thinking in a 3D mindset, I'm not sitting there warming up doing ink drawings on the side or like sitting at my drafting table, like just getting my wrists warmed up. So it always feels there's this discomfort phase, which I guess could be alleviated by just drawing a lot more. But I always notice that, oh, I've got this like growing pain or this, it sounds rookie to be like, oh, I fucking can't draw my comic. I feel like I can't. Like there's a period on the page where I feel out of my comfort zone, but then once I get warmed up, it kind of comes back. It definitely doesn't work for everything. The things that I'm doing isn't the end all be all for everybody. For me, it's a stylistic choice, but it adds an element that I really like to my work, that is this juxtaposition of the cartoony with this visceral, crunchy, digital hyperreal crap that I pile in there.
It has kind of like a Tezuka feel, where it's like the background can be like really, really super, almost like a photostat, but then you have this cartoony dude thing, and it works. Right?
I've always loved that look, like especially like the Shigeru Mizuki's, the Tezuka's, that old just juxtaposition, the cartoon with the crunch.
Oh, yeah. I think that's great. I think something like I always hoped to be able to have like Mobius backgrounds with Bruce Timm characters. Like that would be like a dream style for me, yeah. But that'll take some time. But yeah,
actually, I just thought of a part of this, like a real problem that I noticed. I actually did 5 pages recently for a spring special that's coming out soon. I don't know when it's coming out, but it's soon. And I wanted to push all this stuff to the limit. So I was using every tech piece I have, every tool in the book that I've got. And I realized that just because you can doesn't mean you should. And there's an element of like the saving the things for the big impact moments, so that not every single panel has to be this like, oh, beautiful or like intensely realistic thing. Like you got to save some of that for the imagination and make it more graphic, I think. And that's something I learned. I mean, the whole process for me is this evolving thing that I'm just making up as I go, but definitely
we're following you on that too. So
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm glad to know that that you struggle too, and it's not just all types of shortcuts and leaving all the struggle to us. So
Oh no,
thanks,
yeah.
thanks for humanizing. So thanks for that. And my next one is for Steve. Steve, I first saw you on like on a kayfabe mailbag. Like we were on the same mailbag. Tony Farrell was on that mailbag too.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, yeah. Cool. So it's almost like a high school reunion.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and the thing is, when I saw, like, I have like kids books and stuff, but but when I saw yours, I remember it wasn't where's this guy from. In my head, it was like, when is this guy from? Right? Like it looked straight out of like 80s black and whites, like you were talking about with like Conan's and everything. It kind of it had that feel, black blood and everything black and shiny.
Yeah,
I really like that style. And don't take this the wrong way, but I've never seen you before, but you look exactly how I thought you would look. Like you look like a guy that's been in a band, bunch of indie bands, has a bunch of band stories. That would be a kind of a cool comic too, but I digress. But was because I know you because you were in the comics and then you took a break and then now you're starting to back in. Did that, because I know Jim was talking really highly about it during that during that mailbag, because of course I watched that mailbag episode 10,000 times. But they were talking about it really highly of it. Did that kick in for you? Like was that kind of like the kick that got you going, or was it before that, or was it after that? Like what's that process of like getting back in, right? Like Jordan 45, like that's kind of where you're at right now. So like I want to know what that feels like and what brought that on.
Yeah, that was a big moment. I must have watched that video a dozen times too, because I was like, someone's looking at my comics. Oh my God, and they like it. I thought for sure they're gonna go, oh, this stinks, whatever, this guy's amateur, whatever. Because I don't know, things were in the 90s, people were a lot more critical. I don't know. There's been, I think nowadays people are a lot more open-minded to alternative art and alternative artists.
I'm not sure about if everyone's open-minded. I guess it's just the people that you get to hang around and people that you've chosen to show some stuff, because like Facebook's messed up sometimes, right? It's like
yeah.
You just seem to fall in nicely with everybody else and know that niche, and people really enjoy it, and I really enjoy it. Like it's that field. It's a time machine when you open up one of your books. So like sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You're going on something.
No, not at all, man. No, because it's I'm from that generation. So like I grew up with like 70s Marvel, DC, all through the 80s. I was buying all that independent black and white, everything, the C.R.O.W.BAR and blank on all the titles, but the Turtles and Warlock 5, and I guess seeing the success of the Turtles, and then the success of Image was kind of like, it was all kind of coming to a peak right as I was finishing my first issue. And I realized I wasn't going to get work at one of the companies, but I'd try to self-publish. And so, if my stuff looks similar to those 80s black and white, that's because I wanted, that's what I was into too,
Yeah. And
Tim Visual and all those guys, man. C.R.O.W.BAR, man. I should have done my homework about more clip notes.
Yeah, it just screams indie rock band, right? It just screams indie rock band, and I'm glad to hear from your mouth and then actually see it coming out of your face. It's perfect. It's exactly how I dreamed.
Well, that's what's funny. I'm the most honest guy in the world. There's nothing fake or pretend about me at all. When I'm not drawing comic books, I was playing in my band and drawing flyers. And doing logos for our band and doing our CD cover. Back when we had cassettes, my first band, we had cassettes. and I did the artwork, and I copied up the artwork when at the print shop I worked at, and would hand fold each one and put it in the cassette case. And so, yeah, I mean, that's it exactly, man. You hit the nail on the head.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for making stuff, and thanks for that time machine.
Oh, dude, I'm glad you appreciate it.
Oh, and another thing, Pat, did anybody get you that Bartman #1 yet?
Dude.
Oh, you missed it. Boom.
It was this weekend. It's like the perfect timing for the show, because I mean, I'm still baffled. I'm just so hyped that it's right here. Yeah, it was a year in the making, which is weird because
if it wasn't, I would have bootlegged one for you, man. But
dude, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Yeah, for me, it was just all about finding it in its natural habitat in the back issues, and eventually I found it.
Sweet.
Now time for that manga fan comic, Bartman versus the Space Mutants.
Oh yeah, damn. That would be I should do some Bartman bootlegs.
It'd be sick. Like you did, or at least one of those drawings like you did the Mario and Luigi, like so epic. Be sick.
Okay, thanks, man. I've got a Totoro Snoopy bootleg coming out.
Oh, sick.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a weird combo. But that was a good time. I don't know when that comes out, but eventually.
It will.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you more about that, but let's go over to Tony here first, and then we'll get back to you on that. What up, Tony?
Hey, what's up? So I had a question for Steve. How's it going, man?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good. So your artwork is just so meticulous and detailed and just precise that I'm just wanting you to kind of give a behind the scenes of like what kind of tools you used back then, like what, pens and, style, do you pen and ink or a quill or, a brush, and what you do now, how different it is with, how technology's changed and you can get a brush pen easily now, disposable, just kind of like what it was like back then compared to what you're doing now. So.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I'll tell you, my stuff hasn't changed much at all. Back then, as a kid, man, I tried so hard to use those crow quills with the dip ink and the metal tip, and they just scratch the paper and drop ink, and I ruined a million drawings. And so even in the 90s, I was using the microns, and I would go through the stack. I spent so much money because they would dry out, and I would use just one after the next, after the next. And so now I'm basically using, I found microns are good. But yeah, like you said, brush pens are awesome. And the Copics. The Copics.
Yeah.
Because like I would buy tons of the microns. These Copic comes in different widths, and man, the ink on them is beautiful, and they last way longer. And they come in like little sets. You can get them on Amazon. I also use, like you said, brush markers for the big areas. I'll just take a brush and go straight with black ink and black that stuff out. I still use old school Zipatone. I bought a bunch of it was on sale in the 90s, and I've made photocopies of most of it. And so lots of times I'll just cut like a quick little photocopy and drop it into the side of buildings and things like that, But like I said, my technique is pretty much the same as back then. The only change is that I've got my own font. I got my own font now, which is it's killing. I love it.
And what size have you always just done 11-17 pages?
Yep. Yeah, I get the nice 2-ply was it Strathmore? Spend the money, get the good paper. I do it regular 11x17, 10x15, blocked out. I block it out with like the non-repro blue pencils, and then go back with all blacks.
And follow up to that is like, what was like getting pages, back then, now you can just order pre-ruled pages on Amazon, get pads at the store down the street, Back then, would you just go into the art store, ruling up your own stuff,
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I go to the art store, cut it, rule my stuff off. I still do that now.
Yeah.
I still do that now. I don't
Okay,
buy
cool.
pre-done pages.
Yeah.
I just buy the nice,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
real thick, heavy-duty art paper, so that if I put airbrush on it, or I put a lot of ink, or I tape layers, Cipatone on it, it takes it all.
Cool. And I'm assuming you still have all that original art stashed away somewhere in that house somewhere? Oh yeah. Man.
Yeah, man. I this stuff sat in like just like one big portfolio for like 20 years. And then finally, I think it was K-Fade had these portfolios. I was like, I should just go through and put all of my stuff into these books, so now
totally.
I can go through and like I could read every issue, so yeah, and I'm filling up more.
Awesome,
just filling up more.
Cool, man. Thanks so much.
Oh man, my pleasure.
All righty, cool. We're gonna go over to Adam Lemna, who's got a cue here. Before you start there, Adam, I do want to say that in the comments on Facebook, Kevin Delgado wants you to narrate his life a la the Wonder Years because he loves your voice. So let's hear some of that beautiful voice right now.
My question is for Steve. So I love your work, man. Like I feel like a kindred spirit with you, because like everything that you've been saying is exactly like how I describe Relic Hunter, which is the book that I do, which is literally like metal album covers and Savage Sword of Conan and D&D art from like first and second edition, and like all of that stuff is like huge to me, and it means like a ton to me, and I'm like sitting here like this is what I'm working on right now. So like the second issue takes place in 1984 New York. So
this looks awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm on Instagram. It gets updated on Next Panel Press every couple of weeks. But I wanted to ask you, like, I know, where I was and what I was doing when I came up with Relic Hunter, when I was thinking about it. Like, I always sort of like, it felt sort of like I've been building to it my whole life with like the movies I love and the music I love. So like, what was that moment for you for Vendetta? Do you remember the moment when you were like, I have the character that is going to define me?
Oh, dude, that's a wonderful question.
Thanks, man.
It's a fantastic question. I don't know if I can give you a good answer.
No, it's totally cool.
I wish I had that answer for you that was like, the first time I heard Painkiller by Judas Priest, I created Vendetta. And I was like, that was it.
I love it.
It was somewhere in high school. And, like you always like, you draw and you come up with characters and ideas and stuff. And I kept playing around. And I had this guy with a skull mask and the spiked wristbands. And then I was designing the chest, and I'm like, oh, what am I doing? And then I was like, what if he was like, quoted the Bible? What if, and then I put a cross on his chest, and at first it would look like just a straight cross. And then I flared it, so it was more designy. And then it looked like you just had a t-shirt on at first, and I added like the shoulder pads, so it looks more like a superhero. But so it's sort of I guess I have to say it's an evolution. But boy, I wish I could remember that spark of the first moment. In the Vendetta trade paperback, you'll see I reprinted the very first drawing that I ever did of him. And right next to him, I have a whole bunch of these, it looks like death metal band names. Like I'm trying to figure out what to call them.
Yeah, man.
Vendetta, Cadaver, Torment, or what, like all these horrible names.
Awesome.
And I'm like, I'm juggling, but I'm gonna get it. It's a molding the clay.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I've seen like the design of the characters too. I mean, like just the more you draw them, the more they kind of like change and simplify or become like more more insane as you go, because you're like, oh, I really want to get the, you know, the folds of the cloth right on this one, you know. But
oh yeah. The characters are real to me. Like I can see the movie in my head. Like I'm sure you guys.
That's exactly the way I feel. Yeah.
You're drawing that comic book. I can smell the gunpowder. I can hear the knife going into somebody's shoulder. You hear the chains as it hits the street and the bikes revving and, you know, all that stuff. You know, it's just, oh man, yeah, it just.
Well, dude, I gotta say thank you for like what you do and for the art that you make. I mean, I follow you on Instagram. I love your work. I think it's phenomenal, and I'm so glad that you're here. Manny,
dude, thank you. I'll be buying your book.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Manny, who is one of the guys who's running this today, he writes the second issue with me, and we've just been having like so much fun, because all we do is talk about like the movies we love, the comics we love, you know, everything from that time period. So it's like we want to, you know, we talk about John Carpenter movies and Abel Ferrara movies, and like, you know, like everything that's like crime and fun, and like, I don't know, man. It just, I feel like I connect really well with what you do, and I'd love to see what you think about what we're doing. So excited.
Love to see it, man. Yeah, my stuff is just pure entertainment. There's no like agenda.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to get a message to anybody. I just want fun escapism, because that's what I want.
Yeah. I just want to see what I want to see, man. You know what I mean? Like, I write the comic because that's what I want to read. And I feel like that's what you do too, man. It's really from the heart.
Totally, dude. Thank you. You know, that means a lot to me to hear you say something like that, because it shows that like people are, you know, you're getting like exactly what it's about. It's just a fun read. I want you to have a good time. You know, if you like, you know, smoking a joint when you read the book, or like listening to your favorite band, that's what it's for.
Yeah, man. Flip on a good album, like put on some Black Sabbath, light up a joint, and enjoy some fun comics, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, brother. Thank you.
Oh man, thank you.
You got to be the comic you want to see in the world, you know? That's the quote.
That's it, dude.
Yeah. All right, you know, I'm gonna hit back up with Mr. Plutoons here. I see you do so much work online, and I feel like I haven't dug deep enough or whatever, but how do I get like your work?
My work.
Do you have like
keep it
books
close
out
to the
there?
chest?
Yeah. Oh,
I keep it close to the chest. No, that's a funny thing about how my art account is. Like, it's an art account with no art on it, it seems. But at the moment, I'm in such a development phase for my book that comes out in 2024 something. I just don't share any of that, because that indecision, that overanalyzing, that overthinking, I feel like I don't want to put something out there that's not, I guess, not solidified, because I don't want it to feel like this thing. But I recently got a hook that I could put my camera on and then be able to draw while I do that. I haven't ever had a setup like that before. So that'll give me some opportunities to actually do some artwork for the public. But
we've talked a lot about like your prep for stuff. I felt like when I was like starting to do comics, I needed to get that like turd out in the world so that I could like clean up and then deliver my gold or whatever. You know, I needed to like, I needed to create something and get it out there before I could even create the good thing that I wanted to. Do you feel held back by getting that first thing out?
I feel a mix of emotions. I feel like I'm quietly doing my turds and laying them here on the side for me, and not really advertising them, even though it's good to get those out and get people's eyes on that stuff, right, because it's how you grow. But I've isolated myself, and with that whole snowball thing I've been doing on social media, it's created this double-edged sword where I don't want to not only disappoint myself, but disappoint people that are kind of now seeing me in a light of, oh, this guy's making something. I don't want to be like, and it's nothing, like, and it's so disappointing. So I've taken my time, and there's been that element of like, well, when's it coming? When's it coming?
Right.
And I just have gotten comfortable with the fact that it'll be here when it's ready, kind of thing. But
Respect.
of course, there is a looming print deadline and when you're a year out from that, it feels far away. And then when 6 months happens, you're like, oh shit, I gotta pump out a certain amount of pages immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm learning from being originally from the outside, just wanting to participate in some way, making my own stuff, whether it be on my own, or in this case, having some kind of publisher backing me. I'm learning that these things, at least on their end, just take the business side is just a lot slower than, you would kind of prefer, I guess. If you're just doing it on your own, you could just bang out some pages, get them out into the world.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for things. And then I'm also procrastinating the entire time. So I'm like doing these side projects here, side projects there, doing these videos. So eventually we'll have some new pages up.
That's good. Well, I think it's worth the wait, but I mean, and I know you said like, I recently tried to get organized too. I got like a whiteboard and I try to write out my like weeks and stuff like that. So like, I don't know if there's like a too organized, or if there's like a too, it's like you said, double-edged sword. It's on both sides.
Yeah,
I get you.
Overthinking is a curse. It's like just do the thing. And I'm finally getting out. Well, I don't know. I've got plenty of excuses on why I'm not further than I could be.
Sure.
But I think in the time that I've taken in the rewrites, I've literally was counting the script pages I've rewritten, or I've thrown out 200 pages just of like where I just, because while I'm developing, I discover new things, or I'm like, oh, because with comics or just in general with storytelling, where it really hits is the angle that you come in with the story, how you present the story.
Right.
And yeah, the plot points have to be exciting. They have to be surprising and fun and entertaining, because that's like the main goal at the end of the day, is to bring that surprise and delight. But then in my self-conscious side, my judgmental side is like, how can I come into this story in not just a new way, but the most fucking fun way as possible? Like, what's the most, there's no such thing as perfection, but what's the thing that surprises me when I'm writing it? And trying to figure that out, I think, is hard.
Gotcha.
Because you're trying to fool yourself the whole time.
And do you think doing it in this, like in a public forum versus like developing on your own and moving forward, just having to battle your own brain versus having this having developed this fan base that you're now kind of like creating with or for?
Yeah. The added pressure slows me down a little bit, I think. Well, and it's a positive thing though. At the end of the day, I'm so grateful that anybody's even looking my way. Like, I feel like it's in a way undeserved. I haven't gotten there yet, but we'll get there together, kind of thing.
Right.
But it's honestly, from the creative side, having just me personally, my personality, having a deadline looming or some added pressure is just, I like to be free. Just like to do my thing. And I feel like I don't know, it's a learning curve, transitioning from rookie to whatever's next.
Yeah. Do you have a publisher lined up, or you're going to self-publish?
At the end of self-publishing would always be that doorway. But right now, I don't know what I can say, but Whatnot, the app, last summer, they announced their publishing wing, and they've been putting out books slowly through there. There's a few titles under their belt, but I think this next year is going to be a larger list coming out, and I should be on that wave.
Interesting. Nice.
As things progress, but I don't know you never know with that kind of stuff, like what's going on in the world. And
yeah, for sure.
I just have to perform. But
yeah, I mean, that's what it's about, man. You got to get it out there. And well, that's all. I'm looking forward to seeing more of your work and seeing your book in print, because I was like, this dude has so much shit. Like, where's his books? He must have like 5 books, an art book, a zine or something. But I respect you keeping it under the hood till it's like, till it's perfect. You can't fault you.
Perfect is the wrong word, but like,
I
want it to hit. Well, I don't want to double back. That's actually what I don't want to be like, oh, never mind. Because I started giving, like last summer, I was putting out pages or like the process, and then I ended up throwing that shit out, and I was like, it's just not a good look.
Yeah.
So it's just easier to be quiet about it and just let people either get impatient or just wait. I appreciate everyone's patience, but
I mean, we want to see it. So take some of that fear out. Just do it, man. Because that's what it.
I got some
really
good
takes.
shit coming.
I can't wait, man. And now this has got me curious to see, like, Steve, what was the first book or the first work that you put out in public? And did you find hurdles like Plutoons is experiencing, or did you want to get that first thing out there to just kind of experience letting your babies fly?
Yeah, Vendetta #1 was really the first thing I ever put out in public, and I kind of made my mistakes. I like to hear what Mr. Plutoons is saying too, because like we're all perfectionists, and you don't want to show your stuff before it's ready. But part of what I was doing too was with Vendetta is I wasn't going to get hired, and I didn't have the money to go to school. So I was kind of like, well, I'm going to make my mistakes in front of an audience a little bit. But in the process, maybe I'm going to get better, and people might appreciate that. And, I'm going to create my characters as I go. And it's kind of what happened. I think you can tell, like the books, you can see the growth over the time from Vendetta 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. I don't know if that was a good idea or not. Maybe not.
That's a fact at the end of the day, is the more panels you do, the more pages you do, your stuff develops. And you literally can't learn it until you're doing the pages.
Yeah.
See, that's it exactly. Like I thought, like the best thing for me to do is, you can read books about swimming, but you're not going to learn anything till you jump in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So how am I going to learn if I can draw comics unless I draw one? So, I cut back my work hours a little bit. I had a little bit of money saved, and I just all day, every day, I was at that drawing table, page after page after page, and I'd rip up stuff and this is terrible, throw it away, start over again. And that's it. I don't know if there's any real shortcuts.
Yeah.
But like you said, the more you draw, the better you get.
Well, I've even seen people who do that first comic to find the mistakes, complete the comic in full, and just don't do anything with it. Just leave it in their notebook, leave it in a thing. And they're like, I did my first comic for no one to see. and now I can get to my second one.
You can do that. I guess that
you
maybe
could,
a good idea,
Yeah.
But again, time doesn't stand still. So
yeah.
I was lucky Vendetta #1 came out when it did, because the comic industry was doing pretty well right then. And I think I wrote a little bit of a wave before things started to come back down again, because I was getting a good amount of fan mail and the books were moving. And I was selling books at conventions. I was traveling. Me and my buddy, we went up to New York, had a crazy weekend up in New York City doing a convention. We did a bunch of stuff. But if I had waited, I might have missed the boat a little bit. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Yeah, I hear that. Word. Thank you guys both for that. And, a message to anyone who doesn't have their first comic out. Let's get it. Let's do it.
Do it, man. There's no excuse not to. Everybody talks about it. And I use this analogy too, because I play in bands a lot. I know so many guys, they get drunk. I'm going to start a band. I got this album written, and they're just talking, you know. But if you're really serious about it, and you got your pages and you're drawing and you're working on your stuff, get out there and do it.
Yeah.
You know, like, who cares? No, that's another thing too. You can take the best artist in the whole world, and people go, I don't like him, or I don't like that. So who cares? Everyone's going to have an opinion, positive or negative.
Yeah.
You have to get past that and just be willing to put it out there. And hey, you know, shake hands with the people who like it. And if people don't like it, you go, okay, that's fine. Go read someone else's book. You know?
Exactly. We have so many opportunities that are here now for us with Instagram and all these ways. Like you can put a page out a week and start getting you know, ideas from people or feedback and all this shit. Like just you can start it up.
That's a great idea. That's another thing too, Eli, too, is like I'm sure I'm probably the oldest guy here. You guys are so lucky with like social media and the internet. You've got such a powerful tool to really promote and get your stuff out there. There was no way to do that back then.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. To break out of the local market and get into like this international, you know, Plutoons. I'm sure you reach people all over the world, you know, and get responses from people. And it's like,
it's unbelievable. I'm thinking about your story, Steve, the 90s come up having to figure out how to solicit books and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm not equipped to have human contact in real life. Like we got it so good now.
Oh, dude, see, I was perfect for the internet generation because I'm so, you know, weird and antisocial, and who likes this weird music and these weird comic books, and I spend so much of my time alone drawing and thinking up these crazy ideas and these stories and stuff like that. Yeah. So I was ahead of my time.
We're lucky too, because target audiences become Facebook groups, and then all of a sudden you tap into something like kayfabe or whatever, and it's like, here are the exact people that are going to enjoy my comic, and I can like market right to them. It's great.
I was so psyched when I found them. I didn't know if they'd like my book or not, but just hearing like two guys that are really smart and like talking about like the nuts and bolts, really going into the weeds of drawing and storytelling, you know, I was like, wow, these guys are great.
Yeah. And they're good artists putting out good work too. You know, they're not full of shit or you know, talking shit without something to prove their worth.
Oh, they're real deal.
Yeah, man. All right, cool. Let's go back to the gallery here. We got, if anyone else has another question and wants to ask it, we're going to go back to Manny. And then after that, we'll have just time for maybe one more question and we'll do our plug outros. All right. What up, Manny?
Steve, I mean, you were also a big part of it seems like the punk metal scene, you know, like I kind of grew up the same way. So did you find any crossover between like that and like the comic scene, or like did you learn anything by being a musician in that scene that you were able to integrate into your comic, like the community and the way you created comics? Like
totally. Yeah, because I mean, you look at like punk and metal album covers and band flyers, and I was really influenced by all that stuff, you know. Iron Maiden, as soon as I saw that first Iron Maiden, I bought it just from the cover as a kid. I saw it at the record store.
Same, yeah. When I was a kid, that's why I got into metal, was because like the Iron Maiden albums look like fucking comic book covers. Megadeth too, you know, like the old Black Flag flyers, you know, like stuff like that.
Yep, I saw that. I was like, this stuff's made for me. I know it. And then, you know, I started to discover bands like Voivod, where like the musician in the band, the drummer was the artist on the album covers. And
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Check their stuff out. It's prog. It's not always the easiest listen, but they're cool.
What's that band name you said?
Voivod.
Okay. Voivod.
VOIVOD. They're Canadian. Progressive thrash.
Yeah, they do like concept-y stuff too, right? Like they kind of tell stories, you know.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, I saw them. There was an old small bar in Boston back in the day called TT the Bears. Probably seats 20 people, 30 people. I saw them back in the day play TT the Bears with Creator. Great.
Yeah.
I've heard of Creator's good too. I grew up like a little metalhead kid, so you're speaking my language, man, and like I found growing up that like most of the metalhead kids I knew were also into comics, and like the one friend I had in middle school that had like Spawn #1 and Youngblood #1 was a metalhead kid, that had no friends, so we bonded over that, and then I realized that there's something similar in both communities, like that blurring of the line between fan and creator, like the passion definitely is there. So I mean, both scenes I think are really cool, and it's interesting that you were a part of both.
That's a good point. I guess comics and metal have a lot in common. We get a bad rap.
Corrupting the youth,
corrupting the youth. Yeah. And honestly, some of the nicest, best people I've ever met were guys that are super into comic books or super into metal and their music. And
they might be scary looking, but they're like teddy bears,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So many, I know so many guys, and they're 300 pounds, and the battle vest with all the patches, and spikes and everything, and sweetest guys you could ever meet, like super super nice. And yeah, there's some kind of psychological crossover there. Which I think it's just art and music. I think like any music, people that are passionate about that, it's two halves of the same brain or something.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. All right, we're back to the gallery here. Anyone else have any other further questions, Rick, or anyone else in the crowd here? Or Mr. Plutoons, you have any questions for Steve, or Steve for Plutoons? We covered a lot. 2 hours, you can really dig in on some stuff.
How do I check out Mr. Plutoon's art? I want to see what he does. I'm not familiar with his stuff.
Mainly on Instagram, I guess. That would be Instagram. Yeah, that's a good spot. I'll make sure I'm following you too, because I've been seeing the stuff Power Comics is doing, and like on my list of 2 orders is like the Floating World things, and I got to get some of the that Crow book in my hand. I think
C.R.O.W.BAR 9, yeah,
C.R.O.W.BAR 9.
That's the newest one, and like I said, man, it's a dream come true. That 3rd issue sat for over 20 years. Just sat there unfinished, and I kept saying someday I'll finish it, but I don't have a publisher, or will I print it myself? And man, it just worked out. Like the Vendetta book, people loved it. Like I was really psyched to see people really liked it a lot. And I talked to Floating World, and they were interested in doing it.
Yeah, it's a vibe. It's right up my alley for things that I like.
Cool.
Gotta get my hands on that.
Cool. Yeah, I also have a full cart right now over at Floating World.
Yeah, they got some crazy stuff.
They're the best, and yeah. I'm so psyched because I buy everything they put out. New York City Outlaws is coming.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and still good. That Lance Stanton book was really good too.
Yeah, yep, I bought that. That was great.
Yeah.
All the books that I didn't buy the originals of, they're reprinting all it. I love it. It's so cool. They're doing one Tony Lorenz. Nice. A special on his artwork and stuff. So it's gonna be a lot of good stuff coming.
Nice. And that's just floatingworldcomics.com for all those. I mean, I feel like everyone here knows, but I'll put it in the comments there. Well, that's sick. I think everyone here is working on something. So let's do another quick just round robin of plugs so that we can make sure everyone's following everyone. Let's start with you, Steve. Where can everyone, or where's the best place to follow you?
Sure. Facebook, Steve Ace McArdle. Also Red Bullet Studios. Instagram, Steve McArdle, I'm there. That's pretty much it. I'm working on some new stuff. Get some things up my sleeve. I'll give you guys a quick little preview. I'm working with a guy out of Texas who's a toy maker. And I never dreamed in a million years if something like this would happen. But later this year, Vendetta toys.
Damn. Dude, that's awesome.
That's dope.
Holy
this
shit.
This is the first wave of 10. He hand sculpts, hand casts every figure. I hand paint and seal every figure. They're going to be signed and numbered on the bottom of the feet. This is the monster face unmasked Vendetta, and there's going to be regular version Vendetta, as well as glow in the dark versions of each.
Oh man,
Yes.
So,
that's so
some cool stuff coming this year.
Hell yes.
Oh
I'll
my
be
God.
busy.
That's insane.
I think everybody in here wants to buy one of those. So
Absolutely. Oh, that's sick.
Sweet.
Thank you so much, Steve. Yeah, make sure everyone follows him. What about you, Mr. Plutoons? Where can we check you out best?
Probably Instagram is probably the best spot at Mr. Plutoons, but I'm on every social media, like Twitter, TikTok. I'm not really on Twitter. I just have a Twitter. TikTok, YouTube. Not very Instagram's the best spot.
Yeah.
And as far as work that's coming out, I'm working on Cold Monster Steel. That's my debut, my big one. More info will come about as time progresses, but I do have a 5-page little bootleg that's going to be in Jared Cody Wolf's next little bootleg collection. I think it's called the Spring Special. I'm not sure when it's meant to be printed or what, but that was a fun thing to make. It's like a Totoro Snoopy spin there. Nice. I'm excited for people to see that one because it was a lot of fun to do.
What about your shirt? I see that's not
on
the chest, but it was on your website.
It's May.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle of MangaCon 2023, which is essentially my own. I'm calling it an imaginary convention feels wrong, but it's exactly what it is. It's this just a virtual community based 31 days, 31 volumes of manga, the MangaCon readathon, and then I've rolled it in with the second annual mini manga awards, which is basically a manga contest where you produce a little 6-page mini manga in the form of like it's a zine based format. Nice. And speaking of like print things, I'm working on a trophy. You can't really see it. This is a little resin print of a final trophy. I got to paint it, make it shiny, nice. And put it on a stick. But yeah, we're gonna give the winner this year a trophy, and then there's gonna be 3 top prizes, and everyone else gets a cool shirt.
Nice. How do we enter that? So if you go to my Instagram, there's a link in the bio that gives you like the kit, which just has a PDF that kind of goes over the idea, what's going on, and then there's a template in there that explains how I lay out a mini manga, which it's the exact same as if you're doing a 11 by 17 zine, like folded up and then sliced down the middle. Right. I don't have one on hand, but and then everybody's just emailing my email, mrplutoons@mrplutoons.com with their submissions, and the deadline's on the 31st, and we'll see what happens. You never know with this stuff. You just put it out in the ether, and you see at the end of the day, I'll give myself the award if no one submits. That makes me want to do like a cartoonist kayfabe ringside seats award show.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. I was like, why not? Like I could just, although it's totally a tangent, but like going and making yourself your own trophy you could hand out to people, why not?
Yeah.
We live like in 2023.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yes, dude.
Yeah, it's just like the Dundies, exactly.
Only if you host it like Michael Scott would, dude.
Oh, I absolutely would. All right, cool. Rick, what's up with you, man? Anything about a guy who's in his own mind, creating a universe inside his own mind?
Close.
Shit.
So The Power is a 4-issue miniseries about a boy creating a comic only to discover a realm beyond space and time within his own mind.
That's it.
So the third one's very close. I'm finishing up the last 3 pages, and then I'm sending it off to the printer. So I'm really close. You can follow me on Instagram at Doomdazed, and you can can read like the first half of the first issue on there. You can read Cosmic Cat on there and on Next Panel Press, along with over a dozen other artists. You can go into the story highlights and read from Cosmic Cat 1 to 57. And this weekend, I think, or maybe I'm putting out 59 or 60. I don't know. It's very far along now. We're working through our 3rd year. That's crazy, follow me on Doom Days and follow Next Panel Press, and you get a bunch of free comics on there.
Just out of curiosity, has anyone else gone every single week? Have you missed a week ever, or every other week? Or do you feel like you're the only person that's really kept it up? Because I know I fell off.
Well, there's some people that have done it every single week that they've been on, but they haven't been on as long as I've been doing it.
See.
So like Jerome's never missed one. There's a few other people. Jessica Moore's never missed one.
It's harder.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
Yeah.
The deadlines. Yeah. Thanks, man. The deadline's gnarly, but it's really helpful. Like I know Steve was talking about it earlier, but because that's another thing too. It makes it to where like it just has to be done at some point. Like it's not every panel I'm gonna love, because like my page is 8 panels on each one, so I'm not gonna love every panel, and I oftentimes don't. But you can read the free version on Instagram until I fix all those pages one day.
Respect, man.
Thanks,
Good
bro.
shit. All right, cool. Adam Lemno, what about you, man? Unmute.
Muted. There we go. I'm at Adam Lemna on Instagram, and I also release Relic Hunter bi-weekly on Next Panel Press. I have missed some drops.
It's hard. That's what I'm saying. It's tough, man.
Yeah, but
especially you too. You do it a full 11 by 17.
Yeah,
page.
Every single one is a full 11 by 17 piece that I do with full gray tones and screen tones. Like so, as you can see, I'm doing screen tones right now, and it's slow going because I don't have the right size pieces. But yeah, so Next Panel Press, and then go to cosmiclionproductions.com, pick up Relic Hunter. It's in pre-order right now. Going to be seeing the proof. So
hopefully tomorrow. Yeah, dude. I'm psyched.
And yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I mean, I have incredible people that collaborated with me, Rick and Manny and Christian Misi, and I got pinups in there from amazing people, Craig and Anton and Ken Landgraf and
Tony Wolf,
Delaney. Yeah, and Tony Wolf. Oh my God, man. It's like, it's gonna be awesome. And it's 48 pages, magazine sized, and hopefully it blows your doors off.
Yes. Hell yeah, dude. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks.
All right, looks like Donda's up next. He came on vid just for this.
Yo, what up?
What up, dude?
Don Day, aka DB Super. You can find me on Instagram at Supertech FPV, SUPRTECH FPV on the Insta. And I just been drawing. I don't have anything out right now that's new, but I'm just doing some drawing, and I figured I'll show you guys if I flip the camera. This is just something I'm working on real quick, trying to put some form down.
Oh, nice.
But this is like what I kind of.
Monday's amazing.
This is like what I kind of finished today. Well, it's just sketched out, like hard sketch. And then once I come back to like ink everything, once everything's done.
Damn, that's a sketch. That's already
do it. And here's the other one I finished today. I just had to do some other kind of like shit. And there's another one.
This is so dope, dude.
Yeah.
And there's another one.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Well, yeah, this is like what I finished today. So just showing, let you guys know that, because a lot of people are always talking about, that take too long. So I'm just letting people know I'm actually working and I'm doing some shit. So I hope you guys dig it.
Hell yeah. Always do, man. Is that for a new title, or is that a continuation of any of the other books you've done? Or
this is for a new title. I kind of been wanting to put this one out for a long time, but you know, like you always got that 1 or 2 stories that's in the back of your head while you're working with one story.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I had this thing. I was like, yo, let me see if I can do a toy. So I went and I did the toy, and I was just like, all right, this could work. You know, like I got the character in the 3D space, and I just looked around it, and I was like, all right, I think that this could work. And I was like, you know, and this story is really kind of a home hitter. You know what I mean? It's really based on a lot of shit that I've been through, and a lot of shit that influenced me. So, you know, I hope people like it. You know, it's kind of like I wouldn't say it's a story that is like I want to read, but it's a story that I just want to do. So I just hope people dig it when it comes out, if I'm not dead.
I think we will. And I hope you're not dead as well.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man. Stay alive. All right. Thanks, dude. Thanks, Dawn Day. I feel like I was there for a minute, and then I reverted back to Donda, and then
it's cool. I
Sorry,
I get it all the time. I don't feel no kind of way about it, bro.
All right, word. Cool, man. All right, Tony Sadani, what up, dude?
Hey, what's up? I have my graphic novels that I've done recently. Last year I put out Weird Shit, my anthology horror book. And then I also put out the Skin Deep graphic novel last year. But the new stuff I'm working on is I just finished this piece last week for Overforce, which is going to be like my 90s teen book. So,
dude, that's awesome.
And that the origins of that come from the Ringside.
I remember that, dude.
Show. Remember that? Yeah, the Byfield name generator.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a fun one.
Yeah, so I kind of just built this all around that name. You know, it's gonna be pretty crazy. It's gonna be like a flip book with another artist, and it's gonna be pretty wild. But other than that, I was a part of the Death of Superman just recently.
Yeah.
And then I was in Matt's Tales to Enlighten that just came out recently, Volume 2. So yeah, staying busy. I'm over at T Sadani over at Instagram. So
do you have a website we can buy books off to, or where do you sell your books?
Yeah, TonySadani.com has I think that goes to my blog, which has like my store to it and stuff. So.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Cool,
dude. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Let's head over to the other Tony Wolf. Or sorry, Tony Farrow. Sorry. There's too many Tonys in my life. I'm just kidding. Tony Farrow, what you working on, bro? Are you good?
Well, like I said, I just finished the 21st Century Big Spider number 4.
Oh, yeah.
And I got a couple of mini comics I'm working on. Hold on, let me show you this. This is what I've been working on since I've been here. How do I flip this? This is the cover of this thing. It's called Fighting Guys. That's just a little super short, like 3-page mini comic I'm going to give away for free. Then I got the 6 Soldiers of Fortune mini comic, which is it's on Next Panel Press right now. I'm going to be making a mini comic out of that. Got the 21st Century Big Spider anthology, 120 pages, covers the first 3 issues of that.
Nice.
All kinds of other stuff. Still available. Randy Tucker, Ulf Maverick. My band's working on a new record.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're playing a show with Electric Frankenstein coming up in a couple weeks in Detroit.
Oh, nice.
That's gonna be cool. Yeah.
Nice.
And like I said before, I'll be at Heroes Con in June. That's about it.
Dang, we're gonna have a massive people there. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I actually requested to be tabled near you, so
really,
we'll be in the same vicinity, hopefully.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get in the Indie Island, but I don't know. I feel like they already announced everyone in that.
Yeah. I think that's just people that they invited, right?
Oh, I don't know. No, because Chris Anderson got in there, but he wasn't like invited.
Oh, really?
I think I don't know.
Oh,
I got in there last year. I got invited to the Indie Island last year.
Oh,
At
interesting.
Heroes.
I asked, yeah, I asked, and they're like, "You have to be asked. We ask you, not you ask us." And I'm like,
Right.
"Oh God, I ruined my chances." All right, cool. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
All right, Matt King, what's up, man? Where can we find all the tales to enlighten?
Yo, what's up?
What up?
Matt King, Tales to Enlighten on Instagram. I post stuff from the books every day there, but I feel like maybe I'm preaching to the choir in this room since either everybody was in it or owns it already here, probably.
Yeah.
But I got my personal Instagram at King Megatrip 23, where I post panels of all the shit I'm reading, which I do to actively procrastinate from writing anything else the rest of my life. So it's the one guy who can't draw in this room. I'm writing a couple scripts, but they'll probably never happen, but whatever.
Well, you got
Thanks.
a network of artists who are happy to help, dude.
Big thanks to Steve and Mr. Plutoons there for coming on. Really appreciate it. Good time every month.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, what about you, C.R.O.W.BAR? You good?
All right. Yeah, I'm good. So yeah, you can find me every other week on Next Panel Press, the One Stone. It's my high octane action comic that I don't know what's gonna happen every 2 weeks, but I get the job done. So it's a really good I find it's a really good like deadline, and it's accountability. It's a really good accountability machine, and I'm surprised with how far it gets, and it's a fun little game of improv, and it's a nice little process. But you can find me there, and I am also running a crowdfunder for my next all ages graphic novel. It's a interactive graphic novel with promoting martial and sequential arts. So it's called the Haya the Handbook. Haya the Handbook. So it started off as like one of these. So this is like a notebook worksheet. So it started off with that when I was with my working with students, and they they love Dogman stuff, right? So,
oh wow.
So there's a whole bunch of those in every page. It's so there's the set of 3 workbooks. I've attached about 60 extra pages, 60 extra pages to fill in with a book. It's in terms of its look, it's kind of like my goal is to have like a Pilkey / Eisner, like a Pilk Eisner type like feel. It's about a tree kid that's trying to get training towards to get his next belt, but he keeps getting distracted by his biggest weakness, comics. And I think that relates to a lot of things that I do, right? Things that I do, but I think it would relate to a lot of other kids that it doesn't matter if that's a career choice that they're going to be looking for, but I think something like martial arts to engage physical activity, and something like comics to engage an outlet for creativity. That's kind of what I want to be able to do. That's the goal of this book. I'm only at I got 2 weeks left. I'm like struggling at like 38, 39. I know that there's going to be that last little hero push that I'm gonna get to do, but I just want to make it out there right now that let's not keep me stressed. So you can find you can find me on Instagram at JROMCAB. That's JROAMCAB. And then I also have like my Black Belters, which is like, it's my Mad magazine. It's an accountability kind of thing for me, where it's a bunch of strips, shorts, a lot of the Ringsideology stuff I put in there. I have 5 issues out. You can find that on my Etsy. And if you have ever have gotten anything from me, you don't get what you just order. So like I throw in a bunch of zines, I throw in a bunch of bootlegs, like I put them up all the time. So like there's that Peter Chung joint, the one that flips over with the Scott McCloud one. I got that. I got another Peter Chung. Sorry, Pete, but you're putting it out there on your Instagram, so I'm taking it. Right. But you know, I have a bunch of those, and I keep making them, and I keep posting them on. I'm pretty active in the Ringside Seats group. So if anyone ever wants one, like whether you get something from my crowdfunder, get something from my Etsy, or you get a commission from me, I have yet to actually make some kind of Etch-a-Sketch commission thing. I should like it'd be like, here, $25, and I'll just draw it for you, and like, but that's another thing. But if you ever get anything like that for me, I'm always willing to throw in whatever other zine that you see. But the thing is, you gotta ask, right? If somebody just orders something and they don't say nothing, then you don't know what you're gonna get. I'll just send you, but I'll send you something anyway, because I don't send anything off. So yeah, so hire the handbook, right? Hire the handbook. This is it. I use this. This is like my little. This is my contribution for MangaCon, Mr. Plutoons. I guess it's basically an ad for Haya the Handbook, right? And then all the other stuff. So I have like Tree Kids of Troop 44, ABCs of Haya, and then Tree versus Fox, black and white super fight, right? Black and white super fight. This one, magazine size. So Steve, this just might be up your alley. And then I do have the digital comic pack in that. Like anybody that backs the crowdfunder, I am giving the comic pack, and it's not just for the Haya handbook. It'll be for the Haya handbook. It's the Tree Kids of Troop 44, which is 248 pages. There's the children's book, ABCs of Haya, and then there's Tree versus Fox, right? Tree versus Fox, which is an all ages thing. So if people want to put it on their iPad and just show their kids, Tree Kids of Troop 44 is in color on that, right? So I think maybe some of the kids would like it. But yeah, that's my commercial. So thanks, Eli. Thanks, Plutoons. Thanks, Steve McArdle, and everybody over there that has a toy. With the biggest respect and jealousy, that's a big middle finger to all of you that have your own toys. So Steve, Donde, I appreciate you. I love your work, but I kind of hate you a little bit. But that's just my jealousy speaking. So it's driving me. So I'm just kidding, guys. I love what you guys are doing, and it makes me move forward. And if you've ever gotten any kind of book that I have, that's pretty much what I always want to do. Is I want to move forward. Like I don't have the base or the thing in my head to do what Matt King does. Like when I see the posts in New Testament, it's like, it's awesome stuff, but I can't have it in my house. it's like Faust. It looks awesome, but I can't have it in my house. I can't turn it around. Daddy, what's this?
Fair enough.
What does retribution mean? I don't know, man.
Word, thanks, Jerome. Put your crowdfunder link in the comments. And we got one more. We got one more plugs to get to here. We got J. Andrew World in the house. What up, dude?
Hey, not much. I have a big week coming up because on Tuesday, I'm going to be in New York City doing a live show with my crew from Movie Night Extravaganza. We're going to be discussing and showing Mean Streets, the Martin Scorsese film. You guys can show up for free. We're going to have Matthew Weiss, who is a film editor, to join us on stage afterwards, and we're gonna talk about the movie, which is going to be a blast. Then we're taking off to Caterwall, which I might be on stage doing live drawings, or I could be, just selling CDs of bands that are playing at the festival. But yeah, we're driving cross country to Minneapolis after a punk show in Brooklyn on Wednesday. So next week's gonna be nuts, y'all.
Nice, dude.
Rocking.
Yeah.
And we can follow you on Insta on what? At J. Andrew World? Right
about now too. You can get just about any social media site, Mastodon, Spoutable, Hive. It's ridiculous. Yeah, all of them. But yeah, you can catch me on Twitter, of course, Insta, and I'm posting the artwork I'm making for the shows. You can also find work I do each week for Ben Burgess on his Substack. So if you go to substack.com/Ben Burgess, I illustrate every week something. I know this week I'm drawing Doc Brown and Thomas Aquinas because, you know, I don't know. He's doing, if you're into philosophy, it's like, it's philosophy stuff. I'm doing all kinds of like, but he's also doing a lot of time travel lately. So like I drew Ben Shapiro and Adolf Hitler and Back to the Future 2 pose. And I did Ben as Terminator. So, you know, it's getting pretty wild what what's going on over there. Nice. Also, you know, his show, Give Them an Argument, all the artwork I do, you know, I do all the artwork. Any visuals you usually see on screen is me, except for the videos.
Nice.
So yeah, you can catch me over there. And then yeah, and we'll be coming back with Movie Night Extravaganza at some point after we all recover from what the hell we're doing.
Word. Thank you, J. Andrew World, for that. And for me, just cosmiclionproductions.com. That's where you can get everything. I got a new press page. We got some new videos up there. So click through all the sections. I take my personal drunk time to update the website, so it should all be good and set up there. And anything else, that's it for this month. Until next month, don't just read more comics, be more comics. All right, y'all. Until next month.
Good night, everybody.